The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host. And today I'm with the president of MakeIt
Labs.
MakeIt Labs with Adam Shrey. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, great. So MakeIt Labs has the IT in it, so there's obviously something to do with technology and stuff like that. And you're the president. So tell us a little bit what it is and how it, the genesis of it all, basically.
First off, we're actually run by a 5-member board of directors, and I kind of got the president title because on official forms we need to have somebody signed as the president and somebody signed as the secretary and treasurer, but we all kind of take an equal share in that.
Right.
But what we do is we're a Makerspace, or also known as a Hackerspace, although we tend to use the Makerspace name because there's been kind of a negative connotation with hackers.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They're here.
Yeah.
Right.
Back in the day, though, it wasn't that way. It was a hacker was somebody who just tinkered with things and made their own modifications to them, improved them. And so now that we use the Makerspace word, and it's a maker movement that's kind of going on all around the country, and we're a part of that. So basically what we are is just a place where people can come and work on whatever they want to, whether it's for hobby use or for commercial or educational. We just have a wide variety of tools and equipment, a good space that people can use, and a great community of people.
Now that's still pretty vague. I mean, we can make anything. Can we make computers? Can we make cars? Can we make...
Yeah.
Wow.
Anything. We have everything from electronic stations with electrical test equipment, soldering irons, to an automotive lift. So you really can do any of those.
Interesting. So you want to make something, you want to make a prototype of something.
Mm-hmm.
I got a great idea for a computer that runs, makes this mechanical thing or whatever, but I don't know where to go. Make it.
Yep.
MakeIt Labs. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So where did this concept come from?
I don't know when the first one started. It's been something that's been kind of gradually growing around the world. We're not the first one in the world. We're the first one in New Hampshire, and since then there's been another one, Seacoast Makers, on Portsmouth area, that's opened up, and I think there's a few more that are kind of in the early stages throughout the state. We get contacts from them every now and then asking for advice or just kind of help them go along the way, and we're happy to provide that. But this started, I don't know, probably about 10 years ago is when these things first started appearing, and it's just a nice co-working space for people to collaborate on projects or just work on their own thing.
So how big is this area that you have?
Our current location is 6,000 square feet. We have about 1,000 square feet that we call the clean space, and it's all public area. There's workbenches, test equipment, there's a lounge. Everything in there is just public for members to use. And then we have the rest of the building, which is more of like a industrial garage type environment that has a lot of our big machine tools, our automotive lift. We have a plasma cutter back there, a CNC plasma cutter, CNC laser cutter, all kinds of great equipment that kind of lives back in that area and is also available for members to use.
So you live in a condo complex and you need to fix your brakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go to a place like this, or I need to build a stage for a TV station, and I don't have the room to do it, but that could facilitate that.
Yeah, for stuff like that, we have a few areas that we rent out that people can leave stuff in for like a longer period of time.
Right.
Because space is kind of at a premium there. We have small areas where people can leave personal stuff if they're a pro member, but for bigger projects, we have little like 10 by 10 plots that people can rent to store things in while they're working on them.
Somebody wants to change their oil, they can do that as well. And I keep going to the car thing,
Yeah.
I know, but there are a lot of people that don't have garages, and
Yeah,
there's not a lot of space.
Right. We're actually kind of unique in the Makerspace area. Most of them don't have an automotive lift. We're one of the very few that do. So that is kind of a unique thing for us, but it does draw a lot of people in.
Well, you must have to insure and all that. You have for the facility, and people must sign waivers, I would imagine.
Yeah, we have liability and property insurance, and we have a code of conduct and a waiver that gets signed when people join. And it's membership based, so it's not just you can walk in off the street and do something. You have to join like you join the YMCA or some other sort of a gym.
Very interesting. So basically, the sky's the limit. Now, how do you acquire tools? I mean, how do you go about building the infrastructure for this with such a vast amount of projects that you can do?
That's actually one of the cool things. We've started, now that we've kind of grown a little bit bigger, we've started buying more of our own equipment, but a lot of our tools are actually owned by our members and shared with everyone. There's some things that were just completely donated that we own. There's other things we've bought now, but some of our bigger pieces of equipment are actually owned by individuals, and one guy had a CNC plasma cutter in his basement. He's like, I'm not using this as much. Want me to bring it in? And now we have it there for everyone to use. And we handle the maintenance and upkeep on it, and everyone's happy.
And this is a nonprofit.
Yep.
Students can use this. Do schools utilize this at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've had FIRST robotics teams come in to use some of the equipment during their builds. We've had various other school groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, come through. I actually have a group coming in Friday from Lawrence Academy in Groton that's taking a tour of the facility and learning some stuff about makerspaces.
Wow, this is incredible. Now, do you have production areas? For instance, if you wanted to do a film crew, or do you want to make a film or anything like that? Do you have studios? Do you have sound? If people want to make a recording, or do you have areas for that? Or
not yet, but that's something we're hoping to do in a potential new facility.
Yeah, and now there is a new facility being proposed already, correct?
Yep.
Where is that?
It's 2 doors down. We're at 29 Crown Street now, and this one's at 25 Crown Street in the old Armstrong Cabinets building.
Yeah. And what's the square footage of that?
That one is about 15,700 plus another 4,200 for the basement. So over 3 times as big as where we currently are.
This is really unique. This is a cool idea. What do you got to do? I'm not going to ask you how much it costs, but what do you have to do to become a member? You just call up, say, you must have something on your website that says all the things that you provide.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The easiest way is to come by one of our open houses. Every Thursday night, 6 to 9 p.m., we just open the doors for anybody to come in, see what we're doing, learn about the facility, and if they want to sign up that night, they can. They can sign up online at any time and then just set up an appointment with us to come in and get set up for access. Sign the waivers, that sort of thing.
Do you have coaches and teachers that sit in there and say, hey, look, you got a project? Oh, maybe I can help you with that. Here, have you tried this?
Not officially, but probably our best asset is our members. There's been plenty of times where someone has come in and just like they've like, hey, I want to work on this idea, but I'm not really sure what to do. And there's usually 3 or 4 different people that are experts in that and are happy to give advice on it. So we don't have a project coach, but I guarantee if you come in asking questions, someone will have answers for you.
Now, is this more of a social type of thing, or a facilitator for the community?
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Our open house nights also kind of double as a social night. They're usually our busiest night, where members will come by, even if they're not working on something, just to hang out and collaborate with everybody else. But we have everyone from people that have day jobs and just come there for social and hobby things, to people that are self-employed or work for small businesses that use our facilities to prototype products.
Yeah, so they do. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anything like this. What a cool idea. When I automatically thought, well, you have problems with people hogging areas, and what I'm saying. Geez, I want that space. How do you go about doing?
Most of the stuff is public space. So the way we we break that out is we have spaces that people can rent for personal use, and then that's their space. They can do whatever they want within our rules in there. And then public space just needs to be kept clean. That's probably the biggest issue, is just getting people to pick up after themselves, although we've gotten a lot better about it since we started. But people will have, if they have something that needs to have paint dry on it or something, we're okay with them leaving that on a public bench. Just throw a note on it that says, hey, paint's drying, I'll be back in a day to get this. And things like that we're pretty lenient on. We just don't want people leaving messes all over the place.
Right, yeah, pick up after yourself. Your mother doesn't live here.
Yeah, exactly.
That type of thing. What are some of the unique projects that you've seen come in and out of there?
We've had a lot of different things come through there. We had one guy who redid a old Kawasaki Ninja motorcycle to be an electric bike. We had another person it's actually a continual project for him. He's working to break a speed record with a rocket. So it's considered a model rocket, but it's not like one of those little Estes rockets. This thing's like, he's hoping to do Mach 6 with this.
That's frightening.
Yeah, he has all kinds of licenses to fire these things off. He has to clear it with the FAA and all kinds of things. They have like official launch dates they're allowed to do it, because the rockets that he does, they hit Mach 1 before they leave the end of the launch pad. So that's how fast. They're basically like controlled explosions the whole way up. And
wow. Yeah, so you basically don't see it once it's
just
left.
gone.
And interesting. Obviously that would have to be in a kind of a controlled environment. That could cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, he can't launch them from where we are, but he can work on them there.
Yeah. Any school projects that you've seen come in and out, other than you said robotics?
Yeah, I've had some people come in and do like senior projects there. We had someone that learned to weld and basically welded a bike together as a senior project. We had another group that came in and they were building I'm not entirely sure what the exact project was, but it was creating kind of like a dune buggy type thing out of an old snowmobile engine and some other parts, and that was something they did for school. We've had plenty of people come in and just work on other projects at school. Someone had to build a Rube Goldberg machine for a high school class. And
a Rube Goldberg, I'm not sure what that is.
He was an artist that drew these crazy contraptions that were, think mousetrap.
Okay.
So like really intricate things that solved a simple purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have something that hits a ball and it rolls down a ramp and trips a thing, and then it turns a light switch on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was probably for a physics class or something. I had to do one of those in high school as well.
And anything that you make in there or you construct, obviously you retain the ownership of it, right? You don't share that with the particular...
Right. That's one of our main things, is that we're IP neutral. So we do not make any claims to. You could invent, anti-gravity there, and we'd make no claim to it. Like, we'd appreciate some donations from the royalties on it, but
anti-gravity would be cool.
Yeah, we make no claim to anybody's intellectual property they developed there. And at the same time, we also don't make any claim that will help you protect it. That's on you. You have to talk to your own patent lawyers and that kind of thing. But it's a unique thing, because a lot of organizations, like companies, will allow their employees to use their machine shops after hours and things like that. But there's always kind of the worry there that if they do invent something really great, the company could come in and say, hey, you did this on our property, we own this. And we don't do that. We make sure that anything you come up with is yours.
So what's a ballpark membership that you have already? How many people are involved in the community?
We're at about 80 members right now.
Right. In Nashua. Now, that's just from the Nashua area, or, well, total?
We have people come as far away as 2 hours. Use it.
Yeah.
We had one guy in today that he works for a small company in New Boston, and they came in because they are prototyping these like crazy new electric guitars. And they're like carbon fiber guitars that you can basically take apart and fit into a violin-sized case. And it's something that they've been working on for years. And they used to have to do a lot of things in their own shop, and it would take them a long time. And they found that with some of the tools that we have, they can take a process that used to give okay results in 3 hours and get excellent results in like 10 minutes. So they'll come all the way in. They were here all day working on stuff.
The electronic testing equipment, right?
Oh, they were using, today they're actually mostly using our CNC laser cutter to cut custom foam inserts for their cases. And they've also used it to cut custom pick guards for the guitars. It's things they used to have to do by hand that were real tedious and took a long time.
This sounds extremely intriguing. Just what do you got in there? I mean, what do you got for tools? It's just, and the availability of it. That just sounds incredible.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty wonderful place.
I'm sure I'd get her with the laser cutter, but
actually you'd be pretty safe with that one. It's pretty hard to actually get the laser to fire without all the safety gear in place.
interesting. Wow. And now, what's your goal? What's your plan? How many members? I don't know. Do you think you'll max out at a certain membership, or?
We're not really maxed out right now as far as space, as far as membership goes, but we are getting a little tight on space, and it's mostly just the separation of space. Like I said earlier, we have two big areas in there. We have the clean space and then the rest of the space, and it's not really subdivided beyond that. There's a wood shop that kind of operates in its own area, but other than that, it's all one big open space. And for some things, especially when we're teaching workshops or classes on various things, it can be a little tricky to have those coexist with other activities that are going on at the same time.
So you are teaching classes there then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is related to the tools we have, but there are some specialty things too. We've had everything from wearable electronics to training on the welders, the laser cutter, the plasma CNC, to Raspberry Pis. I don't know if you've heard of those. It's like a little microelectronic computer board that runs Python code, and people have been doing a lot of things with them.
Python. Yeah. I have no idea what Python code. What is Python code?
It's a programming language, and it's pretty easy to get started in. It's more of a scripting language, and it's what runs on these little boards that people can use to make all kinds of cool projects. It's one of the big things because they're internet connected. So they can really easily take one of these and make something where they could hook it up to a light and then turn that light on from a computer anywhere in the world.
You must really like this. I can see it in your eyes.
Oh yeah, it's everyone who works there, I say works there, but everyone who's there is a volunteer. No one gets paid for it, and I probably put in as many hours there as I do at my day job.
Oh, really? So you're not paid? There's not a paid staff at all?
No paid staff. Everyone's completely volunteer.
Interesting. Very, very interesting program. And if you leave something there, obviously it's safe, it's secure. Mm-hmm. Now, when you move to your next facility, will you still be able to work on vehicles there, or will you?
Yeah, that's one of the key things is because it's such a draw for our membership, we'll also be able to move our lift over there and hopefully set it up even better. The new facility, we can have the automotive stuff on the completely opposite end of the building from where we want to have like co-working or tech incubator spaces, so they can stay nice and quiet while other stuff's going on with automotive. It tends to be one of the noisier things. So the new building would give us a lot better separation of space. We have like a dedicated room for the laser cutter rather than being in the middle of everything. We have this great building for, like I said, co-working spaces or possibly a technology incubator. And then there's just lots of other little sub-rooms. There's like a small classroom or conference room that we could have, and then a much bigger event room. And we can kind of have all these activities going on at the same time without people kind of running into each other or, noise being a problem or any of that.
Are the rooms soundproof, or?
Not yet, but we have one. You mentioned earlier about video and audio. There's one room there that we think would make a really good studio as far as either for just a recording studio or doing tutorial videos or anything along those lines. So we're thinking about soundproofing that and setting it up for that kind of a thing.
I would imagine that would go over pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, just with all the, you got a lot of talent around, and you just don't know where to go without paying $40, $70, $80 an hour to record. And that would just be a cool idea. So do you have conference rooms as well that can host more than 10 people, 15 people?
At the new place, we would. The way we're currently set up, we just repurpose the clean space for that kind of a thing. If we have a big event, we'll just kind of clear out the center of that and set up chairs and tables and block that off as, there's an event here this day. But at the new place, there's some pretty good-sized rooms. There's a nice small-sized conference room that would easily do a class of like 10 to 15, and there's a much larger one that could hold a much bigger event.
So what don't you have there? What are you looking to bring to build in? I mean, obviously you have the sound. I mean, kilns or?
No, we actually have kilns. Yeah,
I was just throwing that out there, really.
We have both a glass kiln and a regular ceramics kiln. But we're always looking for new equipment, basically anything that we can host there, and it's something that we can train our members on and people be able to use.
So with all this equipment, and obviously a kiln is you have electricity, you've got rent. It's gonna the membership fee's got to be enough to sustain this. Do you receive any grants at all?
No, actually, we've been completely self-sufficient since we started. We carry a little bit of a surplus. We're a nonprofit. We have no employees, so we have no salaries to pay. And we've been able to build up a little bit of a surplus just in case of emergencies, that sort of thing. But all of our income comes from membership and classes.
Are classes extra, or?
It depends. And we have a couple different levels of membership. So usually when we do a class, it'll have one price for the general public, and then a discount for one level of membership, and then a bigger discount for the other level of membership.
How many membership levels do you have?
Just 2 right now. We call them Hobbyist and Pro.
Yeah.
And we have about a 50-50 split between the two.
And wow, this is very, very interesting. I'd love to see the shop. So you have a website.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called?
MakeItLabs.com.
Of course. And what are your busiest days? Do you have more days that are heavily utilized, or?
The busiest time tends to be Thursday nights during our open house.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a big social night as well. But it really depends on the week. I mean, I've been there on some days where there's no one there, and other days where there's 20 people doing things, and there seems to be no giant rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
But it can either be fairly quiet or quite full.
Do you have a food facility there as well? Do you do coffee, or does everybody go to Bob's Pizza when they're hungry?
I think we're single-handedly keeping Portland Pie afloat. There's usually orders from them pretty much like every time there's people there. It's a lot of takeout and that kind of things get brought in. The new facility we're looking at does have a kitchen though, so that's something that we're looking to do, is maybe even some cooking type things. And
coffee's a big deal.
Yeah, we have someone who's really interested in that and wants to set up like a Chemex station there and some high quality coffee in the kitchen if we get that area.
What's your occupation on the side, if you don't mind me asking?
I work as an electrical engineer.
Yeah. So do you ever take a special interest in other people's projects? Do they invite you in to say, hey, look, this is a cool thing?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I kind of got involved with this because I like working on, even though I'm an electrical engineer, I like working on a ton of different things, and this kind of gives me the ability to do all that.
You're a tinkerer then?
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of our members are.
Have you made anything or prototyped anything at all?
Yeah, for my job, I actually work at a small company. There's probably less than 10 of us there, and I'll work out of the shop a couple days a week, and we do a lot of prototyping there. We have, in addition to the laser card I mentioned, we have a 3D printer, and just the electrical test gear is great for doing what I do.
That's interesting. What a great concept. I've never heard of this. This is, I'll have to go take a look at it. Or actually, I'll look at your website. You must have a Facebook page as well,
Yep.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's all linked off the webpage. It is just facebook.com/MakeItLabs.
Yeah. So like it on Facebook if you're watching, and check it out. Do you ever post some of the pictures of the products that are coming out of there?
Oh yeah, constantly. If something cool's going on, we'll snap a picture and put that up on the page. We'll do a gallery on the website. We actually just redesigned the website because we're in the middle of a fundraising campaign for this new building that we're looking to move to.
Mm-hmm.
The deal we have on it is great. We'll be able to pay the rent, no problem. But the one challenge we have with the building is that in the time that it's been vacant, people have broken in and stolen all the copper plumbing and vandalized it. And that's something that we'll have to fix up front before we can move in. So
Right.
we currently have a Indiegogo fundraising campaign that's linked right off the top of the webpage, and that's running for the next month or so to see if we can come up with the upfront funds we need to move into this building and kind of really expand what we do.
What's your target time to get in? What's your goal to move in?
Well, the timeline right now, we have an agreement with the mayor's office, but it has to get full approval from the Board of Aldermen before we'd be allowed to sign a lease. And the process on that is going to be done either sometime around the end of this month or mid-April.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about when we'd have to sign a lease on it, and then a few months to move in, or however long it takes to build it up first and then move everything over there.
Have any of the aldermen come in to take a look at it, the facility?
They just got the proposal on Friday, but I think they probably will. They've been in before, I think about a year ago, maybe a little longer. They came by for a quick tour of it. I think they were on like a whirlwind tour of a bunch of businesses in the city.
Right.
and they poked in for a little bit. But I think they may come back to see kind of where we've come from since then.
Oh, I plan on it. It sounds like a really good idea. Any final thoughts that you want to share with our audience about MakeIt Labs?
One of the other reasons that we really want to have this move happen and get into this big building is because of all the rooms and stuff that I mentioned, like the conference room and the event room. It's going to really allow us to increase our community outreach and kind of bring in more groups from the community that may be underserved as far as technology goes. We've already done events where we've gone to a bunch of libraries in the area. I've been to the Nashua Library, Hudson, Pelham, and done a like learn to solder, learn electronics class for kids there. But this facility will allow us to actually bring people in for these kind of things a lot easier than we currently can. That's kind of one of our main goals, is to kind of give something back as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It sounds like if you got an idea, there's a place to do it, no matter what the idea potentially is. Great concept.
Yeah, our tagline is dream it, learn it, make it.
That's a great idea. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. Listen, if you got an idea and you want to make something, you got to check this out. I'm going to check it out as soon as I get home. I'm going to check it out on Facebook and on the web page. Well, what a brilliant idea. Anyway, check it out. MakeIt Labs here in Nashua. Thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles. Until next week, we'll see you. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles. And we want to thank our sponsor, Avard Cleaning. They've been a sponsor for quite a few years now, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. And if you want to be a guest on our show, contact accessnashua@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story. Until next week, thanks for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.